All right. Good morning, good afternoon. Hi, everybody. My name is Shayna. Happy Valentine's Day. I am the managing director here at HAR. I already see people popping up in the comments. Please continue to comment, ask questions. We absolutely love it. I think for me, there's no better way to celebrate Valentine's Day than with a webinar with this incredible team, Jus Adventures. If you missed Host Week and you want to learn more about Jus Adventures, not to fret, we have all of our interviews that are recorded on our YouTube channel, and Jus Adventures is one of them. If you go check out Tuesday, January 27th around 2 p.m. Central Time, you will see their interview there. So I don't even need to introduce them because they are going to go introduce themselves. But they're going to talk about and share some simple strategies and concepts to create a standout brand identity and develop a deeper connection with your audience. I will leave it with them to introduce themselves and walk you through the importance of branding and marketing your travel business in 2025. So, Samantha, I will hand it over to you.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Samantha Hammond. I'm the owner of Jus Adventures Travel Services, and I'm so excited to be here with my team. We actually wanted to do this because this is a typical training for us in our agency. We do Monday night trainings, live trainings every Monday night. And this is honestly just one of the, I don't want to say random, but this is just one of like the average trainings that we give to our agents here at Jus Adventures. So we thought this would be a really great idea to kind of not just share it with our agents, but with, I should say advisors, with just travel advisors in general. And hopefully, I know our advisors love this training, so I think that you guys would get a lot out of it. Before we get started, a little bit about our agency. We are located in New York. So I'm looking in the comments and I see someone just said hi from New York. So we are New York based, but we do have travel advisors all over the US. We are a smaller host agency. We've been around since 2017, and we have, and Deb is better at this than me, but we have about 80 to 90 travel advisors throughout the US. And the great thing is we've had some advisors with us from day one. So our biggest thing is that we specialize in new advisors, so which is why we do these weekly trainings. And I'm going to hand it over to Debra because Debra is actually the host agency director. She's the one who mentors our advisors, work one-on-one with them. She organized these trainings every Monday night. So yeah, Deb, do you want to introduce yourselves? Tell everyone a little bit about you.
Sure. Thank you, Samantha. My name is Debra Lebron. I am the host agency director of Jus Adventures. So I am the front line to all the new agents that are coming on. I do the mentorships like Sam mentioned. I set up the Monday night trainings for our agents. And I'm really the go-to person. If an agent, especially a newer agent, has a question, they can always call me, email me directly. And I like making those connections with our agents. I know all our agents by first name. I know their families. We really get to know our agents, being that we are a smaller agency. So I like having those personal connections with them. And of course, I love working at Jus Adventures.
And then, of course, we have Phillip Hammond. So Phil is our marketing manager. And the great thing about Phil is not only does he do marketing for us as an agency, he also provides his services to our advisors. So our advisors actually have access to him for free. So that's one of our big push is that obviously the more successful our agents, advisors are, the more successful we are as a host agency. So we brought Phil on and he does one-on-one mentorships and, he scheduled calls with our advisors to go over the branding and marketing ideas with them as well. So this was one of the presentation webinars, again, that he did for just a regular Monday night training. So he's going to do one for you guys here. But again, it's just so great to have a marketing person on a team that can be accessed by any of our advisors at any time if they have marketing questions. So without further ado, I'm going to hand this over to Phil. He's going to do a presentation for you guys, and then we're going to open it up for Q&As afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you. And as you guys may see, the last name is Hammond. And so this is a family-owned business. As Deborah mentioned, we connect really well with our agents. We do a trip once a year, a friends and family trip, and we bring all the agents from all over the United States to one location to party, meet each other, hang out, communicate. Like Deb said, we're like family. So it is a family operation, and we do treat our agents like family. And my background in marketing and branding, I've utilized a lot in this organization. One of the key things, and I think the most important thing, is always building up your business from not just from an operational standpoint, right, but from like a marketing and branding standpoint. I think there's a lot more people interested in travel and learning the business of travel. And so one of the challenges is, how do you avoid the blend, right? There's a lot of travel agents. There's a lot of people out there doing what you're doing or what you want to do. So branding and communication and creating a brand identity for yourself is going to help you to kind of stand out. And so this is one of the things that we help and mentor our agents with. So if they're having an issue with their logo or their website redesign, they'll schedule a 30-minute consultation with me, which is all included in their membership. And we'll go through them and dive in and try to see that. And then I'll do follow-up calls with them to find out how it's going. I'll recommend stuff for them. So beyond doing the marketing and branding for Jus Adventures as a corporation, I do it to help our travel agents as well. So think of me as your chief marketing officer when you come on board. So today's presentation, as Sam mentioned, is something that I've done for our agents at the end of last year to kind of just give them an insight on like, where am I going with my brand in 2025, right? So this is a little tweak, but it's also a little bit more involved in this one than the one that I actually gave them, right? So we'll go into it. My camera's facing here, so you guys are going to see my side profile for most of the time. And please, if you have any questions, please put them into the chat. So the importance of branding and marketing your travel business in 2025. So welcome to our webinar. And over the next 30 minutes, I'm going to share some strategies that will help you build a strong brand identity, connect with your target audience on a deeper level, and start to position your travel business to stand out. Okay, so branding and marketing are both essentials to building successful travel businesses, but they serve different purposes. Some people ask, well, Phil, what's the difference between branding and marketing, right? So they intersect, right? They work together, but branding technically is supposed to come first before marketing. This is going to save you a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of miscommunication, and I'll show you why. Okay, the difference between branding and marketing, right? Let's start with branding. It's the foundation of your business identity. It's how you define who you are, what you stand for, and the expertise you promise, the experience you promise to provide your clients. It includes your business name, logo, colors, which is what everybody knows, but they don't realize it includes messaging, the type of emotion you want to evoke to your audience. Branding is all about building recognition, trust, and lasting connection with the potential travelers, right? So connection is super important because how you want to identify yourself to others is where branding comes in, right? And it's so important because you get a little budget. I mean, you look at somewhere like Sandals, right? Sandals does the car wrapping, the vehicle wrapping, and you notice with them, they provide you with the graphics to shrink wrap their car. Why? Because they want that branding to be cohesive. So if they have 50,000 cars across the United States all going around with their brand on it, if I'm in Toronto or I'm looking in Florida or I'm in Texas and I see Sandals car go by, I easily can recognize that, right? If you're changing up the colors and brands, people won't be able to recognize you. So that's why branding is like super important in creating an identity for yourself. Marketing, on the other hand, is the strategy and actions you take to promote your brand and attract clients. That includes social media, email marketing campaigns, SEO, paid ads. When you get into paid ads, most people won't start out with that, and other tactics that communicate your brand's message to your target audience. Now, while branding defines your business, marketing is what drives engagement, right? So it's like, look at branding as you have developed a Ferrari in your garage. It's a custom Ferrari, custom color, right? It is the only Ferrari of its kind, but it can sit in your garage, right? Or you can put it out on the road. Putting it out on the road is where marketing comes in. That's an easy way to kind of identify the two. So together, branding and marketing create a powerful combination that helps you stand out, connect with your clients, and grow your travel business. All right, let's jump into like how to create a brand identity for your business. Brand identity is the best way to do it. The tangible way to do a brand identity is what we call a brand book. It is all of your identity and your DNA put into a book that you are going to use to put out all your marketing, or anyone that you're hiring to help you with marketing, you're going to give them that book to work with, right? So a strong brand identity helps build trust, attract ideal clients, and create a memorable impression that keeps your clients coming back. In a crowded market, it allows you to stand out by clearly communicating your unique value and expertise, making it easy for clients to choose them over your competitors. Additionally, a consistent and recognizable brand fosters loyalty, encouraging repeat business and positive word of mouth referrals. So if you look at my friend here, this dog, if you had 3 dogs, right, you're at an animal shelter and you have 3 dogs to choose from, and you got this guy right here with some sunglasses on, you're going to be like, I like this guy, right? He immediately stands out to you. There's something about that personality that stands out. And that little thing that you do, just adding glasses, right, immediately start to say, oh, why is this dog wearing glasses and they're not? That's a good representation of it. So let's go into what elements build to make a brand identity, right? We have the logo, which most people know. Most of you who are thinking about travel business or that are already agents must have some form of logo or some name that represents yourself, right? The color palette is the colors you choose to represent your brand. Sometimes it's purple, blue, green, and I'll go into that a little bit on how the color palette works. The typography is not something that people immediately consider, but typography actually is super important. When you're looking at certain fonts and you get an email from a brand, one of your favorite brands, you'll notice they'll probably use a specific kind of font. It might be a light font. It might be a very dark, bold font. And if you look at certain logos like Home Depot and things like that, right, it's a bold font. Some are more chic and refined, like Baked by Melissa. Whoever knows that brand, it's like, it's a script, it's thin, it's italic. Brand voice and messaging. The tone and how you speak and how you write, right? So you have your fonts, but now how are you greeting people when you send out an email? Is it, hey, how you doing? What's up? What's happening? Que pasa, right? There's a bunch of ways to do it, right? So that's something that you should consider in the brand book as well, the voice and the messaging. Imagery and visual style. This is super important for like Instagram and like Pinterest and things that you're going to use, because when people are scrolling and they see a graphic or a design, they might immediately connect that graphic or design with you and say, oh, that's a Jus Adventures post, right? Why? Because you see the colors, you see the imagery you have to use. Maybe it's contrasty, maybe it's very light and airy, but that determination and imagery and your visual style is going to help you to connect with somebody immediately, because images is something that people connect with immediately, and then they'll see the font and then the follow-up, right? Proposition, mission, and values. So important for this. This is the connection side of it. So all the other stuff is like visual stuff. Proposition, mission, and values is what you stand for, why you exist, right? And proposition actually is not formed from you. It's formed from your clients. It's a little bit more difficult when you're starting out new. But even if you think about what people say about you a lot and says, oh man, you're so trustworthy. I trust you with my money. I trust you with my trip. Maybe you've planned a lot of group trips in your past for friends and family, and everybody just goes toward you because you feel like a leader and stuff. Those are things that you should put into your proposition and your values, right? Leadership, right? Connections, trustworthiness. Those are things that you might put into that because that's what people are talking about and seeing about you. Together, these elements create a cohesive and memorable brand identity that resonates with clients and sets you as a travel advisor apart in the market. Now, as an example, Just Adventures, right? These are representative of things in our brand book. So if you look at our logo, we have a very distinctive orange. And we have like a plane swiping by. So immediately you're thinking something like travel or taking off, right? And in this instance, this arm of the brand, because we have different arms of the company, is Host Agency. So we want it to be very clear and easy to understand who we are and what we do just from the logo. So if you saw this logo, you would think something with travel, you'd think something with adventures, and you would think that, you know, we're an agency of some sort, right? Just from the logo without seeing anything else. Now our tagline, turn your passion for travel into profit. So most agents that come on, as Samantha mentioned, are newbies, but they have travel experience. They love travel, right? So we know that most of the people that are identifying with us have some form of passion for travel, a desire to travel. Maybe they've never left New York or left their state, but they want to, right? So that's where the passion comes from. And what we do here is work with them to figure out how now you can turn that passion into travel, into profit, making a secondary income out of it, or maybe primary income from this. So immediately you can see those two things already connect. Our proposition, award-winning host agency, empowering, educating, and supporting new experienced travel advisors. So the award-winning side of it is our accolade, right? We have won many awards, right? So that's something that we put out as part of the company. But the empowering, educating, and supporting side, that comes from our agents, right? They say, oh, you guys are so supportive, love that education. I feel empowered to go out. They leave a lot of our Monday night Zoom calls feeling like they want to go run the world, right? And so they use these words, right? And so we incorporate them into our proposition. And we want to understand that we appeal to two different audiences, right? New and experienced travel advisors. So their training is going to be sometimes different, and sometimes their questions are different, right? They might have a very lower funnel question for us if they are experienced. And if they're not experienced, they might have a very upper funnel question for us, which might be something, hey, how do you define, how do you define the difference between like what is luxury travel, right? They might need us to define that for them. And how does the star ratings go, right? An experienced travel agent would more likely ask something about back end payroll, like, hey, I need help with my payroll. Can you guys recommend? I just hired 2 new people, right? So they're a little bit more experienced. So the questions will vary, right? So award-winning host agency, empowering, educating, and supporting new and experienced travel advisors. Turn your passion for travel into profit. That already sounds like a commercial, right? So that's something that we put into our book, and that's something that we put out on our social and across our social platforms. You'll see that. Color palette. So you see 6 colors here. The first couple of ones are usually what we call the primary colors. The next set is the secondary colors, and then you have the tertiary colors. So in this instance, that blue is a tertiary color. Tertiary colors are used sparingly, but it's used to usually contrast with the primary color. So it has like a nice, it breaks up the page a little bit. So rather than seeing a lot of orange, you'll see a little blue. The lighter colors, right, these secondary colors, they work with the primary colors, and they're usually used if we're using them maybe as a background, or we're using like typography, right? If you're putting black letters against that orange, it's not going to stand out, right? So if you look at the Just Adventures logo, we're using that fifth color and that first color to build out that logo, right? This whole presentation is built in our brand colors, if you think about it. So that's important to notice when you're doing a color palette. So here's an example of how we use a brand identity to create content on our social media pages, right? If you look at those oranges and the colors that we looked at previously here, we'll see how we incorporate it here into like our Instagram page. And look at some of the content and like the topics we're saying here. 2025 is set to be the year of the travel maximizer. So that appeals to, if you're a experienced travel agent, and you have a base of travelers and you see that, you may look at that and say, maybe I can start looking into some more people that like to travel a lot more than versus like a 1 year trip. Maybe there's a specific group that likes to do rock climbing every other month. And maybe I can send this to them and share this with them and say, hey, we'd love to be able to book your, outside of your annual family trip, we'd love to book just a quick getaway adventure. And so that can appeal to them. Moms make great travel advisors. We have a ton of moms. We have a ton of empty nesters moms and new moms too as well. And so we know that putting content that connects with moms and how much they love their kids. One thing we know, why people work from home, they get to spend more time with their children. And so that's important for them. So that image represents that. We spotlight our agents, our high performers. We spotlight them once a month, sometimes twice a month, and we give them our platform and promote their travel business and say, hey, this is someone that we recognize as is a high performer in our group. And it also gives the newbies an idea of like something to aspire to and say, hey, listen, I'd like to be like that in 6 months. I'd like to be that at the end of the year. I want to be featured on the platform. We also do statistics, right? And these statistics come from travel boards, recognized accredited corporations, benefits of remote and flexible work, family commitments, obviously, reducing commute stress, which is important. People working from home, they don't want to necessarily travel on train and bus. We live here in New York, so commuting via train and bus sometimes is stressful. They hear a lot of bad things on the news. They're like, can I work from home and still be able to make money without having to go out all the time, spend time with my kids, and work-life balance, something that we talked about, right? How do I take back some of those hours, be able to set my hours to work, but also spend time to go play blocks with my children? So those are really good examples of the psychology of the people that visit our page. Identify your travel business niche. So these are things that I put out, like marketing and branding things that we'll put out as useful information to help people that aren't even with us yet, but just something that might be something for them to consider. Now, so here are some tips that can help you build your effective brand identity. Defining your niche. So focus on what makes you unique. That's so important, right? Are you a luxury travel advisor? Are you a Disney travel advisor? Are you an adventurer that books trips for Europe? Make sure and if you don't know right away, start with what you'd love to do. If there's something that I always wanted to travel Europe, right? So this is a great time for you to be able to do it. Not only can you send people on trips, but you can do fan trips where you're now going around Europe, visiting all these places, getting to experience Europe for yourself firsthand, and now bringing that to the potential clients that are going to be able to use your service. Keep it consistent. Choose a logo, color palette, and fonts that represent your style, and stick with them across all your marketing material. So important, guys. I've had law firm clients, and they purchase billboards, and they'll do another photo shoot. We're doing big billboards outside, and they're spending $5,000 a month on these billboards, and they will do a photo shoot and then go put up new photos. And it doesn't give the potential clients enough time to recognize you. So that's super important. not only just because you want people to be able to easily recognize you, but the cost of an error of not being able to recognize you because you can easily have just fixed that. It's so important. So that keep it consistent is super important. Show your personality. Like we mentioned with the dog, your brand reflects. Show who you are. Use a tone messaging that feels authentic to you. Friendly, professional, adventurous, or relaxed, so clients feel a personal connection to you. Oh, that's the travel guy. He does travel adventures. Oh, that's the person that's always on all the trains. He travels on trains around the world. Oh, this person, they specialize in love, everything about love, romance, weddings. That's what they do. Uh, Create a memorable tagline. This is what we talked about, right? Develop a short, catchy phrase that encapsulates who you are and approach to your clients, right? This helps to make a lasting impression. So your tagline should be very short. So if a child is going up with you on the elevator and says, "Hey, what do you do? You're dressed nice. What do you do?" You should be able to say it in like 7 or 8 words what you do. So keep them very short and memorable. Focus on client experiences. Probably one of the most important parts of this, right? If you're going to say all these things about your brand and who you are and stuff, make sure that the client's experience in what you're offering. So in this case, all the visuals, the communication, everything that we're doing, if the client doesn't feel like this was a luxury trip, but you're calling yourself a luxury travel advisor, it's in your tagline, it's in your logo, that's a mismatch, and that can equal bad reviews. So make sure that the things that you're putting into your brand book, you believe in, not what you think people want to hear, but what you truly believe in. All right, so now we did go over the branding side of things, the brand identity, building a brand. These are some of the things that go into a brand element. So now that you have a brand guide, you got a brand book, you develop the tagline, you develop color palettes, you develop a font, a beautiful font, personality. Now, so what do you do with all of this in terms of marketing? So I'm going to show you some tips that can help you take that new brand book and put it across some of your marketing material. So number one, ensure that your brand consistency is across all your channels. Use your brand book, your logo, your color, your fonts and tones in all your marketing material. Update your website, social media, business cards, and email signatures to reflect your branding. I've built brand books for people. They've spent $3,000-$4,000 with me building a brand book. Sometimes it's like a hotel. And then sometimes it takes 6 months to incorporate that new brand book into their branding, right? So it's something that if you've developed a brand book, immediately do an overhaul of all of your platforms and say, how fast can I implement this? And how do I make an announcement? Hey, we've rebranded. So many companies do rebrands, and it's something that you need to implement right away. So if you develop a brand and if you've identified something this year, you've changed your logo, try to go and update all the stuff that you send out. Make sure that the footer in your email has the new logo and not reflective of the old logo. Update your website. Social media is important. Again, with the logos, it should represent. So your letterheads and your contracts have one logo, your website has another. They should all be cohesive, right? So just ensure that it's consistent across all your platforms. Optimize your website for strong impressions. Ensure your website aligns with your brand identity and is mobile friendly. Have a clear homepage message that states your niche, specialty, and expertise. So all of that stuff comes from your brand book. And so when you're writing a message, a welcome message on your website, you should take that personality and that voice that you've built in your brand book, and that should be very apparent on your homepage of your website. And why do we say website? Because a lot of people go to the websites to book, to contact you, right? They're going to go to the social media pages to dive deeper and learn more about you, but they're going to go into the website to do transactions. So make sure that those stuff, start with the transactional side first. So make sure that your agreements, your contracts, your booking website all has that new branding in it. Then work outwards to your social media outreach and those other marketing material. Create a social media profile that matches your brand, and what we were just talking about. Update your Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, or LinkedIn with your brand colors, your logo and bio. Use high quality travel images that reflect your niche. Pin important posts, services, testimonies to the top of your profile. Super important, right? So Instagram and some of these profiles, as you guys know, you're able to pin. Your social media pages are now converting almost into your website. So when people land, you say, hey, follow me at my travel page. The first three boxes that they see are the first thing that they're probably going to click on. So make sure if you did a reel that highlights who you are, if you did a speaking post and you talk about your passion and for why you do it, if you had a bunch of people tell you great things about your travel business and how happy they are with your services, make sure you push those to the top and make sure that they're permanently there, like evergreen content, because those are the first things people are going to see when they go to your social media page. So if you're not doing that already, if you do have a social media page, look from your content, look for your best received content and pin that to your page. You get to do 3 right now. I think social media, they're about to start doing maybe 6, but I think it's 3 right now. Super important. Develop a content strategy based on your brand voice. As I was mentioning, a lot of companies just, they got the brand book, but they're not implementing it, right? That's where the strategy comes in, right? So plan content that aligns with your brand personality. Make sure that, if you're saying that you're adventurous, if you're luxury, if you're family friendly. So now start to pull content that represents all of that and put it into a content library so that you can easily pull from that content library and you already know that everything in that library represents your brand very well. Write blog posts or social media captions about destination trips and client success stories. So it's sort of like an editorial. Make an announcement. So once you have this new brand identity, you can do one-off posts, but also do editorials. Talk about the hotel that you just visited, right? Talk about it in a way that sounds like your voice on how fabulous, if it's a luxury trip, how fabulous, how rich everything looked, how everything looks so high end. That should be your voice, and that's how you should post on your blogs, because when clients are seeing this, and I know Samantha and a bunch of agents use YouTube, and they get a lot of business from YouTube. Why? Because people are going there to see full reviews. They're not looking for like a 30-second. They're looking for like a 3-minute review on something, and they want to know how you feel about it from your personal experience. Use Reels, TikToks, and YouTube Shorts to showcase destination highlights. Yes, everything is changing now. So rather than holding your phone like this, right? People are doing it like this, which is 9:16 versus 16:9, which is what you see on YouTube. YouTube Shorts are doing really well. You might see a video that got 3,000 views on a standard YouTube page, and you look at the Shorts, and it has like 15,000 views. It's people's attention span is shorter, but I also think that it's just a lot more content going out, and you have a shorter period of time. So it's not just people's attention spans. It's just you just have to be able to communicate in a quicker way because there's just so much more content out. So utilize Reels from Instagram, utilize TikTok, utilize YouTube Shorts, and create short, memorable videos that represent you. It could be funny, it could be serious, it can be engaging. One way to track how well things are doing, before it used to be likes, then it was views. Now you're looking at comments and you're looking at shares. So if you posted something about top 10 tips to travel to Portugal and you're getting a lot of shares, that's very good. That means people are finding your information very useful and they're sharing with others, and they're being your brand ambassadors, and they might not even necessarily be a client yet. They're sharing a post that they saw that might be valuable to somebody, and then that person might book you. So make sure that you're utilizing video and to tell your story, not just images. Video is super important now. Build an email list and start sending branded emails. So if you have your friends and family and you've booked them on like an adventure before, maybe a family reunion, you got 80 people on that list, you already have an email list with 80 people on it, and you just started. Utilize them. Hey, friends and family, I got a checklist. I just wanted to send you something for 2025. Can you guys fill out this survey? I just want to know where you want to travel to this year. If you had any plans, what are some of your favorite places? And they'll send it back. And now you have some insights on and profiles on some of your family and friends. And you can reach out to them. Hey, Bob, Uncle Bob, I saw that you wanted to go to Jamaica. Actually, I just became specialized in Jamaica trips. I'd love to plan something for you. That's your client, right? So you have just using your friends and family. Those are your clients right there. Send monthly newsletters with travel deals, trends, and tips. Depending, if you're a luxury traveler, you're probably not going to look more for, cost-effective stuff, but you're going to look more for maybe value. Okay, I'm going to get a chauffeur and I'm going to get a bottle of champagne in my room with this Valentine's Day trip to Jamaica. Cool. Some people are looking for value, right? And maybe you're the value traveler. Maybe you're selling Carnival Cruise Line and you know that they can go on a 7-8 day cruise for under $1,000. That's going to appeal to them, right? Use email templates that reflect your brand colors and fonts. Again, if you're sending out emails, make sure that the color palette, your logos, everything is very identifiable. So when they get that email, they'll say, oh, Michelle is sending this email from us. Let me see what she's offering this month for me. So guys, that is a short version. Obviously, branding is so important and it's so intricate. There's so many parts of it, but I think even just starting with some of these lighter things, and I'll go backwards just so that you guys see it, right? For your branding, you guys can take a screenshot. We might make this available. I'm not sure if we're making this available, this presentation for you guys, but please take a screenshot of this. These are some of the things that go into your brand identity and should be present on your brand book. There are other things when I'm building it for like a large company, there's a lot more pages and stuff involved. But ideally, if you use these 6 key items, it will help you to build a brand identity for yourself. And in terms of marketing, make sure that you guys are utilizing consistency with your brand. Make sure that once you do develop a brand book, make sure you're doing an overall of everywhere that people can find you. And there's so much other stuff like paid ads and search engine optimization, but that comes in time. I think initially what you want to do is make sure you identify who you are, what type of trips you want to sell, what type of travel advisor you like to be, how do you want people to see you. Start with that and then put it across your marketing material. Obviously, social media is still free to be able to sign up and create a profile page. You can start an email campaign. You can use your email to start and then go with a paid email subscription, newsletter, software. And we show you those things. We make recommendations to you at our company for those things as well. And then make sure that when you are sending, if you hire somebody that's not, say for instance, you have got to the point where your business is now, you're going to bring on somebody like me. Make sure that you have a meeting with them and show them your brand book and show them what everything is meaningful to you and like why you're doing it, your passion. Let them understand those things, because now they are going to take that responsibility over and start to market you the way that you would have marketed yourself while you're focusing on sales and acquisition and retention. So I don't know if there was questions. That is the presentation. It's a quick presentation.
There are. I'm going to remove the presentation so that it's just the four of us.
Okay, great.
We had some questions in the comments, and then I actually had some questions of my own. So if I can, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So the first question from our audience is there a recommended amount of colors we should use in our color palette?
Yeah, good question. Generally, you will use 4 to 6. So you'll usually will have 2 primary colors, and then you'll have a secondary color. The tertiary colors are what sometimes called the background colors. It's usually a dark or light background that you use So like on your website, you're going to probably use a lighter background. So I would say generally 4 to 6 colors in the color palette.
Wonderful. And then we have another one from the audience of
Mhm.
how do we build our email list? Right now, my main marketing is social media, but would love an email list to send newsletters. Do you have any insights?
Yeah, definitely. If you've done anything for family and friends before, you might put them on an Excel sheet and ask if you can start sending them some information. I think that's a great way to start. Um, I have I've had a financial company that I've worked with to build some of their marketing stuff, and they had a lot of friends and family that came to their dinner seminars and all of this stuff, and they had all these emails like all over the place. So what they did is they went back in all their emails, searched for the dinner seminars and the people they list to, and started dragging that into a new list, and reached out to them and said, "Hey, can we put you into this exclusive monthly newsletter list that's going to give you some insights on your finances?" And they said yes. So I think building it really requires a couple of things. You can also do giveaways. So if you're doing giveaways, and let's just say, for instance, you have a little bit of uh, travel power to be able to offer a trip or something, and you do an exclusive giveaway that maybe lasts a month, and you saying, "Hey, please subscribe to our email newsletter in order to be eligible." That's another great way to like build a list. But I always say start with your friends and family, because you probably have like at least 100 contacts in your phone, and that's 100 people that could be on that email list, and that will opt in because they know you.
Mhm. I think that's something key that you said to kind of reiterate to the audience is that you do need to have them opt in.
Yeah,
I think we sometimes forget that you can't just go and add people to an email list. So thank you for, you mentioned it a few times,
yeah,
but you definitely need people to opt in. And I think for this person too, using social media, if you're speaking to your audience, you can let them know, hey, I'm starting a newsletter.
yeah.
Click here to go and opt in. You already have that audience. And I guarantee there would be, if they're engaged, I guarantee quite a few of them will go join your email list, and then it can only build from there too. So.
Absolutely. And one other point that can help as a tidbit, like very successful uh, implementation of campaigns. I promise to not spam you. Those words work so well. I've been a part of so many email lists, and I joined because they say, "Wait a minute, I know you're getting email from me, but I promise not to spam you. You're going to get very valuable content. I will not spam you," and that helps them out tremendously.
Mhm. Absolutely. So I have some of my own questions, if you don't mind, that hopefully I think will be really great for the audience. So thank you again. I love branding and information. There's just so much to learn. And I think especially for the audience and everyone watching, and then who will also watch the recording, this is invaluable information. So thank you. One of the most important things to me when you have like your list of 6, when you're talking about branding, I really go into the proposition, the mission, the values, right? Outside of your color palette, your logo and everything like that. I would love if you wouldn't mind. And I think we've seen quite a few large brands really stand behind the things that they've said and why that is such an integral part of your brand. It's not just
Yeah.
the color palette you choose or the logo that you use.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like the mission and the values, the proposition. You said you had a question about it.
My question is just for you to expand. Why is that such an important part of your brand?
Oh,
Yeah, sorry.
yes. So, the logo, the color palette, typography, those things are visual representations, right? It evokes an emotion visually. It stimulates you. It makes you, attract to that person or that thing. The proposition, the mission, the values, what you stand for, those things, what you stand for, is an implement part of your branding for long-term longevity. So the first part of those stuff is to attract people. The longevity stuff is why they stay, right? So you might see a beautiful logo, right? Like say the McDonald's logo, one of the most recognizable logo. It's you went there for the first time with your mom and dad. You saw the big yellow golden arches. You're like, whoa, what's this? You go inside, you see like a clown on the wall, and you're like, whoa, who's this clown smiling, holding a hamburger? But what happens is now the friendly waiter comes over and says, how can I provide a happy day for you, right? With a happy meal. And that's something that you recognize now and is instilled in your head. So how they're speaking to you once you've entered that room and how they present themselves to you is that longevity built. I come back to McDonald's every time because that first time I remember going there, that waiter treated me so well. He said all the right things, and that's all part of their training, right? So the first part of it, this visual stimulation, brings them in. It's flashy. It's supposed to evoke emotion, make you feel. Our colors and our stuff is supposed to make you feel like you're traveling, you're somewhere beachy. And then what we say to you and how we greet you, how Debra greets people on the phone, is super important for longevity. I think that's the main difference between the two.
I agree. I think it also builds a lot of trust, you know, if you stand behind what you say you're going to do.
Yeah.
And I think with upcoming generations as well, brand is incredibly important. A lot of, you know, when you're like starting to talk to millennials and Gen Zs, and honestly, I think even boomers, Gen Xers as well, but it's really, they are very, very brand loyal.
Yes.
And it's about what your brand represents. So
yes, I think as you develop as an agent and you've had experience and you've been doing it for a while, another thing that you can start to attach to is like nonprofits or give back programs. So things that, you know, make you feel a deep connection with like a nonprofit. And I think, like you said, with the millennials and the Gen Z, they're looking for those things as part of your business thing. So what are some things that you're doing to help, right? How does your business beyond travel, right, help other people travel experiences? I know we booked a trip for some students going to Africa. I think their first time. The very students were doing really well in school, and they got a budget, a grant, and so like making sure that, you know, seeing kids being able to travel the world and be able to leave their community, that's like an important thing for us. So how do we attach that to something like evergreen that we do in terms of a give back? I think give backs are super important. It's not something you need to think about when you're first starting out, but it's something when you're thinking about the longevity of your brand, and how you place yourself in the world. I think that's super important too.
yeah, absolutely. I think it's the way you support initiatives and it doesn't have to be financial from the beginning.
Right.
So absolutely. So while you were speaking, we got another question about branding from the audience, which is great. But I do also want to thank everybody and point out that you're getting a lot of love in the comments as well. Just thanking you all for this presentation and everyone finding it really informative. So I'm just buttering you up for the last 10 minutes.
It's Valentine's Day. I love flowers.
Really quick, I just want to mention it, and Phil mentioned it as well. A lot of times, if you do get to the point where you are going to hire a marketing firm, they're going to start with this, right? So you can actually save thousands of dollars, right? If you now have the tools to kind of put your own brand book together. This is what Phil does. Like, people pay him to do that, right? So if eventually you do want to, you know, hire an intern or a marketing person, you can kind of be ahead of the game where you're like, listen, I've thought about this. This is my identity. This is what my values are. And now you don't have to pay a company to come up with this for you. So, you know, you guys definitely take what he's given you, and you can actually be on your way to eventually, if you need help, you can kind of just hand it off to someone, as opposed to him coming in and now saying, well, before I could do a marketing plan for you, we need to do a whole branding thing for you. You can kind of get ahead of that.
Really good point.
It's one of the great supports you get from working with a host agency. So it's, yeah, absolutely. Okay, so got another question here is, how long do you have to establish your brand? Should it be intentional from the get-go, or do you have some kind of trial period? And she's asking because she suffers from choice overload sometimes.
Yes.
Camille, I think we all do. But
Yeah.
yes, she wants to know, how long do you have to establish it? Is it a trial period? What does that look like?
That's a very good question. I think the best branding and the best brand books that I've seen comes over like years of customer feedback and positive reviews and negative reviews and uh, trial and error. The reason why we say that is because, when you build a brand book, the brand book defines who you are, but it defines who you are from the side of the customer a lot of times, right? The client or the customer. So I say always start with what drives you, with your passion. Use essentially your identity. So really good point. A brand identity and your identity could be two different things, right?
Mhm.
You could, I know Samantha hates heights, right? But if she identified like a group of people that love to rock climb, and she created a business on rock climbing, and she hates rock climbing, her brand identity and her voice could be highlighting that, although she doesn't like to do it. But when you're starting out, if you love luxury travel or a desire to luxury travel, start out with an identity that represents us closely to you. And then what you'll find is that identity over time is going to take on a different life. And you might find that you're drifting away from it. The customers that you're getting, you said luxury at the beginning, but you have like 1,000 customers, like clients that are into savings and going on cruises. And you're saying, well, my audience, although I started out wanting to do luxury, I got 1,000 people that want to do cruise things, right? So you might go back and say, let me redefine this particular company to focus on connecting with people that want to do valuable trips that are going on Carnival cruises. So that's where people do rebrands. They do it all the time. The biggest companies, Victoria's Secret, all of them have done rebrands. There's so many people that done oops moments. They followed their brand to the T, and it didn't connect with the audience the right way, and you got to go back to the drawing board. But I think when it comes to like your proposition, what people don't usually understand is that that's usually about what other people say about you. So work on a general brand, and then start getting customer feedback and seeing what people are saying about you. If they use choice words that you see repetitively in your testimonials and stuff, some of those words might end up becoming your core value or one of your core values. So that would be my advice. Start out. There's no, I think, long-term, short-term version of it. I think just start out with what you know, and what builds your passion and your desire, work from that, and then redefine it based on customer experience.
Yeah, I think you have such a good message there with, you don't need to know everything right away or do everything right away. And you learn as your business grows, and that there is the opportunity to rebrand if and when needed as well.
Yes,
So I love
indeed.
that's great, because then you just answered my second question. So perfect.
Knock out two birds.
Don't worry, I have more questions. I love learning. I love listening to webinars, listening to different businesses, different people present. So I love this.
Yeah.
I would love for you. You mentioned, and it's just because our audience, some have their businesses, some are just starting.
Mhm.
You mentioned evergreen content a few times. Can you just explain very simply to the audience, what do you mean by evergreen content?
Yes. So if you look at Christmas trees outside your home, you'll see some of the trees, their branches and their leaves fall off, and then you have trees that never lose their leaves, like they're green all year round, winter, summer. Those are evergreens, they call them, right?
Mhm.
Evergreen content is content that never falls off. It's something that will always define you, always be relevant, always represent you until maybe you do a rebrand, right? So if you did an about us right? That's been your About Us for the last 3 years, and you turn that into a video and you pin that to the top of your social media. That's an evergreen piece of content. That means that over the years, people have come there and they've seen that video. It's been up there for 4 or 5 years, and it represents you. You see the Coca-Cola bear, that's an evergreen content. I know around the Easter time, you guys have probably seen that Cadbury bunny commercial that's been around since like the 80s. That's an evergreen piece of content. It's still relevant to the day. People are still eating Cadbury eggs from the time I was a baby till now. So that's the difference between an evergreen ad and then something that's experimental, which could be something seasonable. There might be a specific trend going on, and then you capitalize off of that trend. So you'll see people on TikTok and Reels capitalize off of trends. They know that it's good for like maybe 2-3 months, and then that dance that everyone was doing 3 months ago, no one's doing anymore. That's not evergreen, right? So that's the difference, I think, between evergreen content and like experimental content, I call it.
No, that's fantastic. Yep. I think it's always good to have like a library of evergreen content that, you know, sometimes you don't even have time to develop something during the week, but you want your content to continue, especially, you know, through email, social. You want to continue, you want to keep the lights on, and evergreen content is a great way to continuously have something to share that aligns with your brand.
Absolutely.
One more question.
Yes.
And it just got posted now. What do you recommend to learn more about branding? Is it books, websites, webinars? What would you recommend for people to continue learning?
You can search. Well, you know, if you become a member of Jus Adventures, you obviously will have access to me 24/7. But you'll have access to me. So that's one thing, and we're doing a sale that Debra will tell you about. But I think searching it, right? You can search now that you know what it is, right? And you've taken screen caps, maybe hopefully of what's going on here, right? You can search it. One thing that I recommended to our agents before, there's a lot of AI tools out there, and AI tools can help you build some perspective wording. It's not going to help you build the design and all this stuff, but you can say in a paragraph in AI now, right? This is who I am or who I think I am. Can you help me to define, like, I need a brand identity. Can you help me create a brand identity based on this information in my bio about who I am? And it will start to actually build out a brand identity for you and start to give you some of those custom things like suggestions. Hey, because you're into this, luxuries usually generated by these colors, you might consider choosing these colors. So that might give you a starting point, generally using AI to help you with that. And ChatGPT is a good example of that. So if you go to ChatGPT and say, hey, this is who I am, can you help me build a brand identity? And click enter, you might see some magic happen.
I love it. Kayla in our comments just said she did that exact same thing. So
good job, Kayla.
Yeah. Thank you so much to Jus Adventures. If you are sticking around our YouTube channel, we are going to go live with our 15-5 where we answer questions that you all have posted to us at Host Agency Reviews in just a few minutes. But thank you so much to Jus Adventures. And if you have any questions for them, please go to their profile, ask away, and you'll find all the information about them at Host. Oh yes, Samantha, please.
And our sale.
Yes. So we just want to say thank you to Host Agency Review for having us. We are still running our sale till tomorrow, 20% off our membership fee. And you would get great content like this, and you would get Phil. Well, of course us, but I mean, you know.
Well, yes, you get everybody. And if you are in the comments right now, Abby from our team just posted the link to their profile, so please go check it out.
And last, we grandfather in all of our sales, so the sale is not just for the year. You're grandfathered in for as long as you're with us. So just wanted to put that out there.
Oh, I love that. All right. Well, thank you so much. And thanks to everybody. And this will stay recorded, so feel free to listen again. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.